Yeah, man.
Hello fans, not really. It's your boy Burster MFG and welcome to my first review of a video game, because I like video games and I'm sure you guys do too. The Sonic the Hedgehog franchise is something that I do potentially enjoy for a number of reasons. The control, the graphics, the characters, you name it. But today we're looking at one of the most split video games of said franchise. And what's that game? Sonic Lost World. I hear that this is one of the most debatable games of all time. However, most people seem to fall in the indifferent factor, obviously meaning that it is an alright game. But I decided to list all the pros and cons down, and they all have to have 10 total events to discuss. For example, if there are 6 things I like and 4 things I dislike, then the game gets a 6 out of 10. Let's get started, shall we? Let's begin with the music. All the Sonic games have great music, and Sonic Lost World is no exception. It's spectacular compared to Sonic Adventure 1, and the reason why I say that is because it is similar to Sonic Adventure 1. They seem to match the tone based off of the environment in the game, and they do it very effectively. I don't feel like bringing up examples because each level speaks for itself when it comes to its music in general. So I recommend checking out the soundtrack for yourself. I promise you won't regret it. My favorite soundtrack of all time is the final boss with Dr. Eggman because it feels like the finale of the franchise, except not really. Another thing I like about this game is the control. Since we're controlling Sonic on the Wii U gamepad, we have a few moves to work with, but let's start off with the basic ones. Returning from Sonic Colors is a double jump and it's still as useful as its predecessor. Returning from Sonic Adventure 1 is the spin dash and you can activate it by pressing on the ZL button. However, unlike Sonic Adventure 1, you can spin dash while holding the analog stick for an infinite amount of time. Returning from Sonic Adventure 2 is the somersault, in which you can hold down the X or Y button while moving the analog stick. But unlike that game, you have this ability at the beginning of the game. Now let's move on with the new moves. New to the game is the run button, in which Sonic turns into a figure 8, in which you can activate by holding down the ZR button. But unlike Sonic CD, you cannot blast off with speed. But at least I got the hang of it. Hell, I've been playing this game for about 6 years. The homing attack is back, but this time you can target to more than one enemy at once. You can also charge up your homing attack to make it a lot stronger. Now with this multi-homing attack, it makes progress a lot easier. And the charged homing attack is great for taking out bosses, especially the difficult ones. And of course, we have this move. By jumping towards a wall, you can do a wall run, but you can't run a straight line. Instead, it only lasts for 5 to 6 seconds. Personally, I can get the hang of this move. Well, at least for the 3D sections. But we'll get to the 2D sections soon. Overall, the new moves are good. They're useful for the most part, and I can easily get used to them, especially in the case of the difficult levels. Returning from Sonic Colors are wisps. Compared to said game, you can control them with the analog stick, but you can also control them with the gamepad gyroscope by moving and tilting it. Personally, I recommend the first option, specifically if you're not an energetic person. Another thing that makes Sonic Colors shine is the graphics. For a game that was released in November of 2013, the graphics of this game are what you would expect from that year. It looks a hell of a lot better than Sonic Colors, Sonic Generations, and Sonic Unleashed. Out of all the games I've listed, I'd say especially Sonic Colors. Now remember how I said on Twitter that graphics don't matter? Well, I don't agree with that tweet anymore because the graphics of this game make the experience way more enjoyable than if the graphics weren't there. The graphics in Sonic Lost World are a breath of fresh air to see, and they got the lighting perfect for the graphics as well. All of that considered, the graphics in the game are stellar. The DLC is a good distraction. I enjoyed the Legend of Zelda DLC and the Yoshi's Island DLC. They were both enjoyable in my eyes, really. It should take you about 6 to 8 minutes to complete one of them and 12 to 16 minutes in total to complete both of them. It's nothing special, but maybe you guys should give the DLC a chance. The final positive thing I would like to talk about in this game is Super Sonic, and my god, he was just as acrobatic as he was in the older titles. In addition to moving faster and being invincible to any attacks, Super Sonic has a boost button in which you can activate by holding down the spin dash button. Like Sonic Colors, you have to collect every single red ring of each world to unlock him, but at least it's a simple experience unlike Sonic Colors. I mean, don't get me wrong, Sonic Colors is good, but not good enough when you're trying to collect the red rings. And now we move on to the cons of this video. Yippee! Sonic Lost World's plot is really simple to make. Only exception is that Dr. Eggman has company in the form of the Deadly Six: Zavok, Zaz, Zomom, Master Zeke, Xena, and Zor. And obviously, all of their names start with the letter Z, just pointing that out. And then the Deadly Six ditch Eggman, thus making up a team-up with Sonic, Tails, and Eggman. Kind of like the team-up they did in Sonic Adventure 2. It's been a while. Also, the spotlight on the Deadly Six seems incredibly boring. You just look at their scenes and you say, "Shut up and move on already!" No, I'm just kidding. Though, honestly, I really don't care for their scenes, they just seem incredibly boring. Which brings us to the 2D sections themselves. Now, I am not a fan of 2D modern Sonic. I'm a fan of 2D classic Sonic, but that's about it. The last Sonic games, you have 2D sections to go to, and they are way worse than Sonic Generations, Sonic Colors, and Sonic Unleashed. For one, when you activate the run button, Sonic runs pretty slowly. Even when you activate the spin dash, the speed, while faster, is not as fast as the 3D sections, and that's all I have to say. Now, the difficulty in Sonic Lost World is absolutely poor. Now, let's get this out of the way. I do not have a problem with all of the difficult levels of the game. However, the levels I cannot stand are Sky Road and Lava Mountain. Now, those two levels aren't impossible to complete, but I had a hard time with Sky Road Act 3 and Lava Mountain Act 2. There are so many times where I am this close to getting a red ring from those worlds, but I either fall or to my death or pass by them, and when I first experienced it, it really forced my entire hand big time. Honestly, I think Sonic Lost World has too much styles, and it's impossible to know which is the main one. For example, in Frozen Factory Act 2, you have to control as a snowball throughout the entire stage. Another example is Desert Ruins Act 2, in which you are on rails for the entire stage. However, one level requires you to play pinball to get to the next area of the stage. But as we all know, Sonic Lost World has little to no focus whatsoever, and it's so disappointing to see, but I digress. Well, in retrospect, I did not want to criticize this game, but I still stand by what I just said earlier. But as of this game, I am not entirely happy with it at all. Don't get me wrong, I still agree with the pros I just mentioned, but then again, that isn't enough to save this game nonetheless. The music is good, and the controls are easy to get used to, but I don't find them the catchiest compared to Sonic Adventure 1 and the Japanese soundtrack of Sonic CD. Graphically speaking, it's great for Wii U standards, but it's not for everyone, and instead it's most likely for people who are a fan of changes to a Sonic game. With that said, I'll give the game a 7 out of 10. It's still decent, but if you are looking for an experience to use, try this game out. It's definitely out there. Before I end this video, I would like to thank Drake Dragstar Rants for giving me criticism on the script, and Stop Brand Videos for helping me with the script. I don't know what I do with these two channels, so once again, go check out their channels. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and Burster out.